Welcome back, APDL. I'm Quincy, or Cap Fox, or simply the coach of the Gallivanting Gallades. And this week we got another spicy game to show you guys, and another spicy team as well. We're playing the PDF files, or Harry, and we have a pretty exciting team this week. We are bringing two Mons that we haven't got to bring yet in our draft team, so I'm excited to show them to you. And I don't want to waste any time. Let's just hop into the team builder. Alright, first up we got our boy Clodsire, a good smiling boy. We haven't been able to bring him yet just because the matchups have been a little bit unfavorable for him. But this week we're running him. We got Leftovers, Unaware, Heavy Slime, Poison Jab, Toxic Spikes, Recover, Max HP, the leftover points in attack, and Max Special Defense. I know it says speed there. That is a mishap on my part, but I'm really happy with him. He's gonna do some work this week, and his main goal is to just get Toxic Spikes up and stall a few things out if he needs to, as well as hit some things pretty hard, like Mimikyu, Sylveon. He does pretty good damage to Alakazam as well. So this is a great wall for any of his special attackers that he has, as well as any Swords Dancers or other setup mons with that Unaware ability. He's also Terra Fairy. I thought that would be pretty good to help avoid a big Psychic type move. I know Harry, I believe he ran Choice Specs Alakazam last week, so a Specs Psychic isn't treating Clodsire too well. It's 2-hit KOing him if I'm correct, and an Earthquake as well from a Sock Banded is not good as well. So Terra Fairy just helps us live a couple other things. It's a little bit unexpected, and hopefully, it'll be a good bring. Next up, we got our Meowscarada again. However, this week we're running a Choice Band set with our 24 attack, or excuse me, 24 HP, max attack, and 232 speed. We outspeed everything on his team, barring, obviously something that is Choice Scarfed. So we have Choice Band just for that extra damage. We got Flower Trick, Knockoff, U-Turn, Play Rough, and Protean for that extra 1.5 stab on all of our moves. And this thing hits like an absolute truck. With Toxic Spikes up, there's nothing this thing isn't one-shotting as long as we don't click a resisted move. And even then it's doing 50% damage. So yeah, this thing is absolutely disgusting. As long as he doesn't have any unexpected weird scarfs on his team, this thing is going first and probably killing something. So a very cool set there. Next up, we got our so far has been to every game, I believe. We got our Tinkaton, and this thing has one job this week. This thing gets Mold Breaker, which means it bypasses Mimikyu's Disguise. We also have enough investment into HP and yeah, just HP, to live a +2 Shadow Claw or some other neutral move from Mimikyu. So very important there. So we can live, since we're slower, we need to live a +2 hit. And then we can Gigaton Hammer, and with Mold Breaker, it'll one-shot Mimikyu and do pretty good damage to anything else that he could bring on his team. We also got Protect, Play Rough, and Substitute for other moves, and Leftovers as our item. We also have Terra Flying on this Pokemon, which I thought would be a good bring if I end up seeing his lower tier grass threats along with his 2 fighting threats. Low Kicks and Sock are my biggest worry this week since I don't have a super reliable defensive wall. I do, and we'll get to that later, but he's not as tanky as a typical physical wall might be. So I thought Terra Flying would just be nice because it gives us resistance to Earthquake, which Go-Go might have. Sock definitely would probably have. It also makes us neutral to fire moves, and it's just a good kind of back pocket weird Terra type to throw on something if we see some of those threats that we might be a little bit worried about. Moving on to our 4th Pokemon, we got Primarina, who's also Terra Fairy. Terra Fairy just goes really well into Harry's team, and the extra damage on Moonblast is very welcome. And this week we are Choice Scarf Primarina, which means we outspeed everything with our investment except for the Alakazam, which is fine because we have other answers for him. We have Scald, Moonblast, Energy Ball for the Quagsire, and Ice Beam for a couple of his Grass threats that he could bring. And this thing is also like pretty disgusting even if we don't Terra it. Leftover points in defense, max special attack, and speed. Yeah, this like Terra Blast, Moonblast is disgusting on this thing. The fact that it outspeeds like low kicks and sock is also really gross. If it's in against a 1v1 against low kicks, it can survive a first impression. And then if it's like sock or something, a poison jab doesn't kill if he's faster, or, aka if he is Choice Scarf, so we're fine. And then we absolutely destroy it. And then if he's Choice Banded, or is like Life Orbed or something else, we just outspeed and we one-hit KO it from the get-go. So hopefully he's not expecting Primarina to be Choice Scarf, and we can catch him off guard and kind of sweep through his physical mons. That's the idea for Prim this week. Alright, moving on to my favorite Pokemon of the week is Kecleon. He's Assault Vested, Protean, Shadow Sneak, Iron Tail, Knockoff, and Ice Punch. Good coverage against his whole team. He's got max HP, leftover points in attack, and enough special defense to get a nice 350 points in special defense. So with with Assault Vest, I believe that comes out to like 425 special defense, which is absolutely gross. So this Kecleon is living like close to 2 Focus Blasts from a Spexed Alakazam. If it's not a Specs Alakazam, it's doing like at most 30% of his health with any given super effective move. And Kecleon is 2-shotting Alakazam with Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak's obviously good for some like priority against like pretty much everything, so since Kecleon's almost the slowest thing. Iron Tail is really good to pick up a Steel typing, so we resist like most common moves from Alakazam. We resist most low kicks things, and it also gets us a really good typing up against Sylveon and even Mimikyu depending on his moveset. Knockoff, great move. Ice Punch for those lower point to grass Pokemon he has that on his team that he might bring. And yeah, this thing is just an absolute tanky beast. So I'm very happy to get to use them this week. But we have one more Pokemon to cover. And last but not least, we have our Death Beyblade this week. We got the Rocky Helmet Hitmontop with Intimidate. We have Fake Out, Rapid Spin, in case he's running like a Hazard's Quagsire or something. I don't want Toxic Spikes on my side, or Spikes or any sort of Stealth Rocks. We have Protect, and that's actually incorrect. I switched it to Endure at the last moment just because we are running Rocky Helmet, so getting that little bit of contact damage chip, I thought might be important. But, we'll see how the game plays out. We also have Bullet Punch for some priority. We have max HP, max defense, and the last leftovers in special defense. So this thing is an absolute unit as well, kind of like Kecleon. It can switch into either of his physical threats and take pretty decent damage. If he switches into like a Choice Banded Sock, the most he's taking is like 50%, which isn't too bad. And if he's not banded, then he's taking like 30. Then he can Fake Out, Protect, and hopefully we have Toxic Spikes up by that point. So he is just he's just stalling him out, to be honest. So yeah, if you haven't quite picked up on it yet, we have not like a stall team necessarily, but we do have a lot of tanky mons, and no way for him to get around Toxic Spikes, at least foreseeably. So we want to get Toxic Spikes up and be as annoyingly bulky as we can, and just make that toxic damage tick up and up, and then come in with a couple of our fast sweepers and clean up from there. So that is the game plan this week. We have a win con, get Toxic Spikes up, be faster, one-shot things, and I think that covers the team. Let's just let's hop into the game here. Alright, hopping into our replay viewer. We got into the game. He announces his Terra is Mimikyu, so that's a little bit worrisome. I don't know what trickery he has planned. And we decide to go Terra Clodsire. I don't see Go-Goat. I was a little worried about him since he's so bulky and has an Earthquake, so we're not going to Terra Tinkaton. And I think Primarina, for the most part, does enough damage already, so I just want that extra unexpected bulk on Clodsire. And the one thing I'm noticing, like, after we declare Terra types, is that he doesn't have Alakazam, which is pretty interesting. It is one of his top tier mons, and Choice Scarf, that thing is a huge kind of hassle to deal with, since my Meowscarada would no longer outspeed it. But we don't see it, which is, at least at this point, I'm thinking that's good news. So, we send out our leads here. I go Meowscarada, and he does the smart, a smart lead and goes low kicks. So first impression is absolutely destroying us, and we have to switch out. And I bring up Beyblade right away. This is his job, to switch into the physical threats. First impression does 30%, which isn't too bad. And we figure out he's life orbed. And he took Rocky Helmet damage, so we dropped his attack and we got 30% damage on him, which is pretty good. We fake out for a little bit of extra chip, and then I'm thinking, you know, we got the attack drop on him. We can just switch out to Tinkaton. We can maybe get a sub up, or maybe just pop off a Gigaton Hammer. And he U-turns here. We don't take any damage from that, really. And then Sock comes out. And I'm worried about an Earthquake, or like a Fire Punch or something, so I protect a Scout. And sure enough, he has Fire Punch. Alright, so after Sock fires off a Fire Punch into our Protect, he switches out into Quagsire, and I'm also thinking, you know, okay, maybe he's like Choice Band or Choice Scarfed, so maybe he's locked into Fire Punch now. So I'm going to switch into Primarina, because I know Prim can take it, and he actually doubles into Quagsire, which is okay for us. Actually, it's really good. We have Energy Ball, so we shoot off one of those, and we pick up our first kill. And he comes back in with Rotom Mow. I know I can't, I know I don't want to take a Leaf Storm, and Energy Ball isn't doing anything to this. So I switch right into our good boy, Clodsire. And he fires off a T-Wave, and luckily, you know, we're ground type, so it doesn't do anything. And we finally get our chance to get Toxic Spikes up. So they're up. Our game plan and our win con is in sight. It's on the field. And now we just have to fight and try to hold on. We're going to Terra Fairy. I was expecting maybe like an Earthquake or something of that. He goes Zen Headbutt, actually. And we do some decent damage with Poison Jab, and then he switches into Rotom. We figure out Rotom is Heavy Duty Boots, but we do get a lucky Poison on him with Poison Jab, so that's pretty nice. And now that we're no longer ground type, he's able to paralyze us, which is fine. And we're just going to keep going here a little bit. I'm going to keep Poison Jabbing, and eventually, actually it was this last turn here, we figure out he is Pain Split, which is pretty interesting. I like that tech. It gives him, like, pretty much able to infinitely battle this Clodsire here, with their, like, differences in max HP. So, I'm a little worried about what to do here. I know we can't stay in and fight, or we'll eventually run out of Recover. And, you know, it's not going to be good with his Pain Split. But eventually he switches out. We get a Recover off. And we're looking at Sock, and I think, okay, we have Beyblade still, sitting at over half health. Let's bring him in. So we bring him in. We get the attack drop. We do a little bit of Rocky Helmet damage, Poison damage, and then Fake Out. And in a couple turns, we're able to knock Sock out. Between like Fake Out, Bullet Punch, Poison damage, Rocky Helmet. This thing is just the Beyblade of death. So we're very happy there. We pick up our second kill, and then Mimikyu comes out. I know this is a Terra type, and I'm thinking, you know, Beyblade's pretty low. We could get him out and use another attack drop when Low Kicks comes in, or I could just hit Bullet Punch and scout what he is. It is Mimikyu, so he's likely going to Swords Dance or something. So I want to break it. You know, just take advantage of him possibly setting up, and he actually goes Trailblaze, which is a pretty interesting choice. I'm thinking his thought process is that he's faster than Meowscarada with Trailblaze up, or with a speed boost from Trailblaze. So, I'm guessing that's what he was thinking. But luckily we're just able to 2 times Bullet Punch this thing. And we do die to Play Rough. However, Beyblade is going to effectively kill him there with 2 Bullet Punches, Rocky Helmet, and the Poison spikes up. And then Sylveon comes in. And this was, well, with no Alakazam on his team, this is effectively Kecleon's job. So I throw him in, and he's going to start Calm Minding. Pretty typical Harry set. I think he's ran Calm Mind every week so far. And we're going to pick up a Steel type from our Iron Tail. We do miss the first one, unfortunately. And then he gets a Reflect up, and we're doing 46% behind Reflect, which isn't a ton of damage, but he also has Poison on him, so he's on a timer, and he is not going to do good damage to us. Unless he has like Mystical Fire or something, but he has Draining Kiss, and does 6%. So that is nothing. That is no damage at all. And we're just able to fire off another Iron Tail, pick up our 4th kill. We're up 5-2 now. We're looking pretty good. And Low Kicks comes in, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, Kecleon probably dies to like a close combat or an axe kick or something. We can let him go here. He's fulfilled his purpose. So we Shadow Sneak, although it is lower priority, like it's first impression. And even with a resist, he is doing like 76% of our health. So that Tinted Lens is putting in work for him. And we do a whopping 3% with Shadow Sneak, and then go down the next turn to Sucker Punch. But we do get him down to 3% health. And here I know Meowscarada can reliably take a Sucker Punch, as long as it doesn't crit. So we're going to throw Meowscarada in, and I will let it play out. Sucker Punches us, we live, which is fine, 33% health. Rotom comes in, and we're just going to U-turn, and even through a Reflect, the Choice Band Protean Meowscarada is just going to do too much damage. His half health is not going to be enough to tank a U-turn, and we pick up the victory. A nice, pretty clean 4-0 game. So yeah, that is how that game turned out. GG's to Harry. I really liked his Rotom Moset. I think that's one of my like, it was not something I expected. The Pain Split Rotom Mo. So that was very cool. But that wraps up our game this week. As far as our standings, a little update in the APDL tier, I guess, our rankings go. We should be sitting around 4th or 5th in the whatever division I'm in at the end of this week. And we'll be 1 and 2. So we're still playing from behind a little bit, but we've been lucky enough to keep our other games close so that our differential is actually positive now. It should be a +1 after this week. So if we play the rest of our week smart, like I plan to, we should be able to get our way into playoffs easy peasy, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But with the standings covered, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. We have a bye week next week. When we come back in week 5, we play the King Gambits. I don't know what city it is. I can't pronounce it. But we play Ryan and the King Gambits for our week 5 games. That will be very exciting. Looking forward to that. So thanks for tuning in, APDL, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.